Nicole was the kind of person who radiated energy wherever she went. Since she was a child, she lived for movement, running, swimming, dancing. At 28, she kept the habit of participating in amateur marathons, always with a smile on her face and her curly hair tied in a high ponytail. At the Moderna Chic magazine office, where she worked as a marketing analyst, she was known for her infectious laughter and her ease of starting conversations in elevators. On that Monday, the Human Resources Department had announced a new integration activity. In a brown envelope, each employee would draw a colleague's name and would need to organise a gathering outside the work environment with the aim of bringing colleagues closer and creating a more friendly atmosphere. "I got Alice," Nicole celebrated, shaking the paper with the name of her friend from the design department. "I know, let's have that horror movie marathon we always talk about." Alice smiled, adjusting her thick-framed glasses. "I got Gabriel from accounting. I'm going to invite him for a coffee, I think that's enough." "And who took my name, I wonder?" Nicole asked, looking around the office with curiosity. The answer came at the end of the workday when a tall, broad-shouldered young man, though slightly hunched over, approached her desk. Nicole vaguely recognized him. It was Damien from the IT department, the one who rarely spoke at general meetings and always ate lunch alone while reading some technical book. "Hi, Nicole," he said, in a low but firm voice. "I drew your name in the activity. Would you like to have dinner with me on Thursday?" There was something in the way he kept his eyes fixed on the ground that made Nicole feel a pang of tenderness. "Of course it will be a pleasure," she replied, trying to lighten the mood with her usual smile. Later, in the women's restroom, Nicole vented to her friend Alice. "Oh, how will the evening with Damien be? You know how lively and talkative I am. Imagine a dinner where only I will be talking." Alice was applying red lipstick in front of the mirror. "Look on the bright side, it's just a dinner. You eat, chat a little, and then leave. And who knows, maybe he's someone interesting behind all that shyness." On Thursday, Nicole chose a simple yet elegant navy blue dress. Damien awaited her in the reception area, wearing a carefully pressed dress shirt and dark pants. His brown hair was combed to the side, revealing a face with defined features that Nicole had never really noticed. The restaurant chosen by Damien was cosy, small with warm lighting and wooden tables. They had just sat down at the table when Nicole picked up the menu and began to leaf through it. "Have you tried the shrimp risotto here? They say it's—" Nicole started, trying to break the silence, but was interrupted by the shrill ring of Damien's cell phone. "Sorry," he muttered, looking at the screen with growing concern. "I need to take this." Damien stepped a few paces away, speaking in a low and tense voice. Nicole watched as his body language changed. His shoulders became more tense, and his free hand repeatedly ran through his hair. When he returned, his face was pale. "Nicole, I'm sorry about this, but I need to resolve an issue that has come up. We'll have to postpone our dinner." He hesitated for a moment, as if he were calculating something mentally. "Actually, I need to drop by my house quickly and then we can continue our evening. Would you like to join me?" Nicole knew she should say no. She knew Damien only superficially, and going to the house of a colleague she barely knew was not exactly prudent, but something in the genuine urgency in his eyes made her nod. "We just need to make a quick stop," Damien said, parking in front of a pharmacy. "I'll be back in a minute." Nicole watched in the rearview mirror as he talked quickly with the pharmacist, who handed him a small bag. She began to feel a knot in her stomach. What was going on? Damien's house was in a quiet residential neighbourhood, with trees lined up along the sidewalk. It was a modest but well-maintained building with a small front garden. As soon as they entered, a middle-aged woman, wearing a characteristic white uniform, came to meet them. "Mr. Damien, I'm glad you're here. She didn't want me to call you, but I thought it best to inform you." "Thank you, Clara. How is she now?" "Stable, but complaining of pain." Damien made a gesture for Nicole to wait for him in the room. "Make yourself comfortable. I'll be back in a few minutes." Nicole nodded, feeling out of place as she watched Damien disappear down the hallway. Looking around to distract herself, her eyes settled on a wall that was practically a shrine of achievements. Shiny trophies, gold and silver medals, and dozens of framed photographs covered the shelf. In all of them, a different Damien, younger, with an upright posture and a confident gaze, displayed victorious smiles. "State track champion," read one plaque. "Record holder in the 800 meters," indicated another. Newspaper clippings featured headlines like, "Young track and field prospect secures spot in national competitions." Nicole picked up one of the photos, incredulous. The Damien she knew from the office and this award-winning athlete seemed like completely different people. "It wasn't for you to see this," Damien's voice startled her. He was standing at the threshold of the room with an expression difficult to decipher. "My mother insists on keeping this corner. I'd rather box all of this up, after all. It's all stuff from the past." "Damien, I had no idea. Were you a professional athlete?" He ran a hand through his hair, a gesture Nicole was beginning to recognize as a sign of his discomfort. "Almost professional. I'm sorry to have to interrupt dinner, but one of the medicines my mother uses ran out and she forgot to tell me, and now she needed it. But everything is fine now." He looked at the clock. "Would you be open to changing the location of our dinner? I know a small diner nearby that has the best sandwich in town." The fresh night air seemed to have relaxed Damien. As they walked through the streets illuminated by the yellow lights of the lampposts, Nicole noticed he began to speak more freely. When a stronger breeze made Nicole shiver, Damien took off his jacket and offered it to her, with a gesture so natural it seemed to contradict all his usual shyness. The diner was exactly as Damien had described, small, cosy, and with an aroma of homemade food that made Nicole's stomach growl in anticipation. Sitting at a table in the corner, with enormous sandwiches and creamy milkshakes in front of them, the conversation finally flowed. "So, you were an athletic star," Nicole commented, biting into the sandwich that was indeed delicious. "What happened?" Damien took a sip of his milkshake before answering. "I was in college, on a sports scholarship. I had just qualified for the national championship when my mother was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis." He paused, looking at his own hands. "At first I thought I could balance everything. The training, the studies, the competition travels, and taking care of her. But the disease progressed faster than expected." "So you went back home," Nicole completed softly. "Yes. I gave up the scholarship, transferred my course to a local college, and got a job that allowed me to work from home when needed. The IT department ended up being the perfect option." He gave a half smile. "I don't go out much because my mother might always need me, and I want to be around. Even with the help of the nurses, I feel it's my responsibility." "That explains why you were so reserved at the office." "The reclusion ended up creating a vicious circle. The less I interacted, the harder it became to do so. I guess I built some sort of protective shield." He shrugged. "Sorry if I'm talking too much." Nicole smiled. "Actually, I'm enjoying listening to you talk." That night marked the beginning of an unexpected friendship. Nicole discovered in Damien not only an attentive listener, something rare in her life filled with superficial people, but someone with whom she shared more interests than she had imagined. They both loved mystery books, had the same quirky taste in music, and adored documentaries about nature. In the following weeks, Nicole started inviting Damien for small outings. At first, he resisted, concerned about his mother, but Nicole was persistent. "Your mother has nurses, Damien. You need to breathe a little." One Sunday, she convinced him to participate in a 5-kilometer charity run. "It doesn't have to be competitive, it's just for fun," she assured. But as soon as the starting shot sounded, Nicole saw a transformation take place. The hunched and hesitant Damien gave way to an athlete with impeccable posture and long strides. He finished the race far ahead, with a time that impressed even the most experienced runners. "I guess some things are never forgotten," he remarked, breathless but with a sparkle in his eyes that Nicole had never seen before. On another occasion, Nicole met Sophia, Damien's mother. She was a middle-aged woman with grey hair and eyes identical to her son's, confined to a wheelchair but with a surprising vivacity. "So you're the famous Nicole?" Sophia said with a warm smile. My son talks a lot about you. Mum, please, Damien murmured, blushing. What? It's true. Since you came into his life, he's been going out more, smiling more. Is it a crime to admit that? During tea on the porch, Sophia told Nicole about Damien as a child, always running, always on the move. He was running before he could even walk properly, she laughed. And he was always stubborn. When he decided something, there was no force in the world that could change his mind. I've noticed that, Nicole commented, exchanging a knowing look with Sophia. Before they left, Sophia called Nicole aside. He deserves to be happy, you know. He has always sacrificed so much for me, abandoned so many dreams. Sometimes I feel guilty. You are not to blame for your condition. No, but I could have insisted more for him to follow his own path. Promise me that you will help him come out of this shell he has built. I promise, Nicole replied, surprised by her own conviction. As the months went by, the relationship between Nicole and Damien evolved naturally. He started participating in amateur marathons with her, rediscovered his passion for sports, and slowly, the shield that isolated him began to dissolve. At the office, colleagues noticed the change. Damien now took part in meetings, contributed ideas, and even showed up at the occasional happy hours. And his work efficiency only increased. One day, Nicole convinced him to accept the invitation for a weekend at her friend Alice's beach house. Sophia practically pushed them out of the house. Go, have fun. I'll be fine with the help of nurses Clara and Mariana. It was that weekend, seated on the sand under a starry sky, that Damien finally found the courage to take Nicole's hand. Do you know what scared me the most about coming out of that shell? He asked in a low voice. What? The possibility of falling in love. Because that would mean having something to lose, besides my mother. Nicole squeezed his hand. And now? Now I realize that some things are worth the risk. He leaned in slowly, giving Nicole time to pull away if she wanted, but she didn't want to. The kiss was gentle, hesitant, like a question. And when they pulled apart, Damien's eyes shone with a mixture of fear and hope. This is scary, he admitted. Completely terrifying, Nicole agreed, smiling. But you know what I've learned from marathons? Sometimes we need to run toward what scares us, not away from it. A year later, during a special dinner at the house they now shared, Damien proposed to Nicole. The ring was inside a small trophy box with an inscription, My greatest victory. Finding you. On the wedding day, Sophia, in her wheelchair decorated with flowers, was brought by the caregiver to give her son away at the altar. And when Nicole arrived, radiant in her simple dress, she saw the man she loved waiting for her, not bent or hesitant anymore, but upright and confident, like in the old photographs, now with something new in his eyes. Complete happiness. On that company event night, when Damien said, "You shouldn't see this," referring to his past sports glories, he couldn't imagine that moment would be the start of his greatest race, not in pursuit of medals or trophies, but towards a life worth living to its fullest. Nicole, who always believed life was a marathon, not a sprint, learned that the best companions on the journey don't always arrive first or draw immediate attention. Sometimes they appear quietly, but are the ones who stay until the end. And so she discovered that life isn't about getting there quickly, but about whom we choose to keep running with step by step. If you enjoyed the story, please leave a comment with a rating from 1 to 5 to show how much you liked it. Also, watch the video that is now appearing on your screen. See you soon.